Kody Brown thought the hardest part of losing 3 wives was behind him. He thought that with Christine gone, Janelle pulling away, and Mary quietly stepping back, he could finally rebuild his life with Robyn. No more chaos, no more questions, no more plural drama. But Season 20, Episode 6 is about to prove him completely wrong. Because this time, Kody isn't sitting in a confessional rewriting history. He's face to face with the women who once built his entire world, and they aren't holding back. The episode teaser opens with something fans never thought they'd see again. All of Kody's ex-wives in one frame, not at a wedding, not at a funeral, but standing in front of him as he tries once again to set the record straight. Except the record isn't what he thinks it is anymore. The camera pans in close. You can see the tension in his jaw, the nervous flicker in his eyes. He starts to speak, the same way he always does, calm at first, trying to sound reasonable. "I just want everyone to understand what I went through," he says. But before he can even finish, Janelle cuts in, and her words land like a slap. "Kody, what you went through, what about what you put us through?" The silence that follows is thick. You can feel it through the screen. This isn't the Kody who controls the narrative. This is Kody being forced to listen. It's the reckoning fans have been waiting for, but it's not just emotional, it's strategic. Because while Kody is trying to repair his image, Janelle is fighting her own battle on the farm. A problem that could expose just how fragile her independence really is. And that's where this episode takes a turn no one saw coming. The teaser cuts to Janelle's confessional, no music, no background noise, just her voice. She looks tired but grounded, the way only someone who's lived through decades of disappointment can look. She says quietly, "I thought I was done being angry, but when he stood there acting like he was the one abandoned, something inside me just broke. It's not yelling, it's not bitterness. It's truth spoken after years of silence, and that's exactly what makes it sting." The editors flash back to the early days of Sister Wives, old clips of Janelle working, supporting the family, managing the chaos while Kody bounced between houses like a self-proclaimed referee. It's a reminder of everything she gave and everything he took for granted. Now, back in the present, Kody's face hardens, he crosses his arms, his voice sharp. "Janelle, I've been trying to hold this family together for years. You all gave up on me." But this time, no one jumps in to soothe him. Not Mary, not Christine, not even Robyn, because the script has flipped. The wives have found their voices, and Kody's usual control is slipping fast. Christine leans forward, calm but firm. "You didn't hold us together, Kody, you held us back." That line hits like a bullet. You can feel the producers knew it was gold, the kind of moment they build an entire teaser around. And as Christine finishes, the camera cuts to Robyn, sitting in tense silence. For once, she doesn't defend him. She just looks down, fiddling with her ring, her face unreadable. Then, a shift. The teaser transitions to the farm, Janelle standing in front of her land, arms crossed, staring out at the half-built greenhouse, the muddy path, the wind whipping through her hair. Her voiceover. This land was supposed to be freedom, but right now, it feels like one more thing that could fall apart. And that's the irony. The woman who fought hardest to be independent is now the one facing the biggest obstacle. The question is, will Kody use her struggle to pull her back in? Or to prove his point? Because what happens next isn't just about land. It's about leverage. The scene picks up in the Coyote Pass kitchen, Kody sitting at the table, hands clasped, trying to project calm. Across from him, Robyn sits stiff. The air between them is thick with unspoken tension. You can tell this isn't the same United Front viewers are used to. The camera lingers on Kody's face, frustration masked as concern. "She is making a mistake," he says of Janelle. "That farm is too much for her. She doesn't have the resources to manage it on her own." Robyn hesitates, then replies softly, "Maybe she doesn't want to do it alone. Maybe she just doesn't want to do it with you." It is a quiet line, but it hits hard because even Robyn, his last ally, sounds uncertain. The producers cut to Kody's confessional. He is visibly irritated. "Everyone acts like I abandoned them. I didn't. I just stopped trying to fix something that no one else cared about." It is the classic Kody narrative, blame masked as self-pity. But the audience has seen this movie before, and so have the wives. Cut to Janelle on the farm again, shoveling dirt, inspecting a fence. Talking to one of her sons, the tone shifts. The sun is low, golden, but the atmosphere feels heavy. Her son says, "Mom, you sure you don't want to call Dad about this?" She pauses. The camera catches that split second of emotion before she steadies herself. I've called enough times before. I'll figure it out." Her voice doesn't crack, but you can feel the weight. That is when the narrator tone shifts from observation to revelation. For years, Janelle was the quiet one, the peacemaker, the one who didn't need the spotlight, but in this moment, standing in the dirt she dreamed of owning, she is realizing something. Independence costs more than she thought, but dependence cost her everything. Meanwhile, back in town, word of the confrontation spreads fast through the family. Christine's confessional sums it up perfectly. "I think Kody's scared, not because we left, but because we're doing better without him." That's the turning point. The man who once controlled the family's direction is now reacting to it, trying to keep up, trying to regain his footing. But episode 6 isn't about him rebuilding power. It's about him realizing he's already lost it. And when he finally decides to confront the ex-wives together, it's not an act of peace. It's an act of desperation. The next sequence opens with drone footage over Flagstaff. Soft light, cold air, the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. Then, a producer's voice cuts through. "We're setting up the meeting now." Inside, a rented cabin becomes neutral ground. Long wooden table, 4 chairs, cameras tucked in every corner. The energy feels forced, like a reunion. No one agreed to attend. Christine arrives first, composed, confident, her hair pulled back, a small smile that says she's here on her own terms. Mary follows, guarded but curious. You can tell she's not sure why she's even there, but part of her still wants closure. Then Janelle, steady, practical, but clearly carrying the weight of the farm on her shoulders. And finally, Kody, he walks in last. No warm greetings, no hugs, just tension. The producers let the silence stretch for a beat too long. Christine breaks it with a dry laugh. "Well, this is weird." Kody tries to smile, but it doesn't land. He sits down and says, "I wanted us all to have a real conversation. No editing, no sides." Janelle leans back, arms folded. "So this is about your story again." That's when Kody's tone shifts. He drops the calm fade and starts to list his grievances. How the wives misrepresented him, how he's been painted as the villain. It's the same defensive spiral fans have heard for years, but this time, no one's letting him finish his sentence. Christine cuts in. "Kody, you can't rewrite what happened, just because you don't like how it looks." Mary adds quietly, "You wanted honesty, so here it is." The camera pans to Kody's face, that familiar mix of anger and disbelief. He wasn't ready for this kind of unity. For once, the women aren't competing, they're aligned. And that's the twist. The wives who once fought for Kody's attention are now standing shoulder to shoulder, not as rivals, but as survivors of the same story. The scene cuts briefly to Robyn's confessional. She's watching all of this unfold from the outside and says, "I wanted peace, I wanted healing, but maybe peace means letting the truth out, no matter how painful it is." Then, the teaser cliffhanger. Kody looks around the table and says, "If you all think you were the victims, maybe it's time you admit what you did to me." The camera cuts to black. When the screen fades back in, the room feels heavier. The silence after Kody's words isn't peaceful. It's charged, thick, with years of resentment that no one's willing to keep quiet anymore. Christine is the first to speak. She doesn't raise her voice, but her calm cuts sharper than anger. "You keep talking about what we did to you, but you forget everything you did because of you." Kody exhales through his nose, trying to hold his composure. "I was trying to lead this family," he says. "I made sacrifices," Mary interrupts, her voice trembling but firm. "No, Kody, you made choices, and every one of those choices was about you." That line lands like a blow. For years, Mary's pain was quiet, hidden behind polite smiles and passive interviews. Now her words carry the weight of every ignored plea for connection. The camera cuts to Janelle, watching them both, her expression unreadable. Then she leans forward. "Look, Kody, we all know how hard this has been, but what hurts is that you keep acting like you're the only one who suffered. Kody snaps back. You think I didn't lose anything? I lost my family. Janelle answers instantly. No, Kody. You lost control. That's what this is really about for a moment. No one speaks. Even the producers stay silent. The shot tightens on Kody's face. You can almost see the shift, from anger to realization, from control to panic. He opens his mouth, then closes it again, and this is the moment the balance of power finally tips. The man who built the system is now standing in the ruins of it, and the women he underestimated are the ones narrating its fall. Christine's confessional follows, her voice softer now. I didn't want to hurt him. I just wanted him to see what we all saw. The pain, the distance, the way we lost ourselves trying to keep him happy. Then, the camera fades to Janelle, on the farm again, working alone, hands in the dirt. Her voice overlays the scene. Sometimes letting go of someone means you finally have room to grow. But growth isn't easy, especially when the soil's full of old roots. A storm rolls in on the horizon, thunder in the distance, the perfect metaphor, the past finally catching up. The next scene opens with wide shots of Coyote Pass. Clouds crawl across the sky and the wind is fierce. Janelle is out there alone, her jacket zipped to the chin, her face half hidden under a cap. The land looks raw, unfinished, a visual reflection of where she stands in life. Her voice plays over the footage. When we bought this land, I thought it meant we were building something lasting. Now it just feels like a reminder that nothing ever really belonged to me. She is walking the fence line, the camera tracking her in silence. Every creak of the gate, every gust of wind fills the space where words can't. Then we cut to her confessional. The ground's been too wet to plant. The greenhouse project's behind schedule, and every time I try to fix something, another problem shows up. I keep thinking maybe that's the point. Maybe this land was never supposed to grow anything. For a moment she smiles, but it's the kind of smile that hides exhaustion. Cut to Kody's confessional. He says, Janelle's always been independent. I admire that, but you can't run a farm without a family. She's trying to prove something that doesn't need proving. The irony is thick. For years, Janelle was the family's backbone, the one who worked while others leaned on her. Now, Kody paints her independence as stubbornness. Christine, watching from her own kitchen, says in her confessional she doesn't need him. That's what scares him, because if Janelle can make it on her own, then everything he believed about himself falls apart. The camera shifts again, a montage of Janelle fixing a fence, hauling supplies, trying to start her truck. It sputters. She laughs bitterly. Figures, she mutters. Then the phone rings. It's Kody. She stares at it, thumb hovering, but she doesn't answer. Instead, she says to the camera, every time, I think I need his help. I remember why I left. That's the emotional pivot. The moment viewers feel the weight of what independence really costs. Freedom isn't glamorous. It's lonely, uncertain, and hard. But it's real, and for the first time, so is she. The editors fade to black on a final image. Janelle standing in the middle of the field, arms crossed, the storm breaking behind her. The scene opens on the crunch of gravel under tires. A white truck pulls up to Janelle's property. The camera follows as Kody steps out, jacket collar turned up, expression tight. There's no music, just wind and tension. Inside her trailer, Janelle glances through the window, jaw tightening, when she sees him. She doesn't rush out, she takes her time, puts her gloves down, wipes her hands, composes herself. When she finally opens the door, her tone is even but cold. What are you doing here, Kody? He forces a half smile, just checking in. Wanted to see how the farm's going, she crosses her arms. You could have called. He hesitates, eyes scanning the unfinished yard. I figured maybe I could help. You look like you're struggling, that word, struggling. Lands wrong. Janelle exhales slowly. You mean doing things without you? He opens his mouth, but she doesn't let him finish. You always think if I'm not following your plan, I must be failing. That's how we got here in the first place. It's calm, controlled. But the truth behind it cuts deep. Because this isn't just about the farm, it's about every time she had to shrink herself to keep the peace. Kody's voice hardens. You don't have to be so defensive, Janelle. I'm offering to help. She looks at him steady. And what would that cost me this time? Silence. He can't answer. The camera lingers on his face, frustration fighting with guilt. He looks around, searching for something to fix, something to control, but there's nothing here that belongs to him anymore. Then Janelle says quietly, "This land was supposed to be our family's future. Now it's just mine, and I'm okay with that." Kody blinks, caught off guard. "You don't mean that." "I do," she says. "Because every time you left, I still found a way to keep going. That's what I mean by family. It's the people who stay." He doesn't respond. He just turns, looks out at the land one more time, and walks back toward his truck. It is not an explosive fight. It is worse. It is the quiet moment when both people know it is really over. No shouting, no tears, just the hollow sound of doors closing. The final shot before the commercial. Janelle standing alone again, but this time her face isn't tired. It's settled. The scene cuts to Christine's kitchen in Utah. Bright, warm, alive. The counter is cluttered with snacks and kids' projects. The kind of happy mess that tells you life is full here. She's laughing with David when a producer's voice cuts in. Off camera, Christine, "Have you heard about Kody visiting Janelle?" Her face changes in an instant. She pauses mid-laugh, looking down, then shakes her head with a half-smile. Of course he did. He always circles back when he feels out of control. The way she says it, not bitter, not angry, just done, is what makes it powerful. Christine turns serious. Janelle's been through enough. That woman carried this family on her back for years. While Kody was off chasing fairness, he never actually wanted. If he's back at her place, it's not to help. It's to rewrite the story. David leans in quietly. "You think he's trying to get sympathy?" Christine nods. "Oh, absolutely. He's realizing the world doesn't buy the poor Kody act anymore, so now he wants to play the concerned ex-husband, the guy who just wants everyone to be okay. But it's not about Janelle. It's about control." She leans back, crossing her arms. And the sad part, he still doesn't see that every time he tries to control the narrative, he proves our point. There's a beat of silence. The camera catches her eyes, a mix of sadness and relief. Christine continues almost softly. "I spent years trying to make excuses for him, telling myself he was stretched too thin, that he loved us all equally, that it wasn't favoritism, it was logistics. But you wake up one day and realize love shouldn't feel like competition." David puts his arm around her. "And you stopped competing." She smiles. "Exactly. The best decision I ever made." Then the camera shifts. She picks up her phone. Notifications flood the screen. Fans are talking about Janelle's latest confrontation and Kody's awkward visit. One comment stands out. "Christine warned us. Janelle's living the same script, just a different season." Christine sighs, reading it aloud. She's right. The only difference is, this time, we're not playing along. Cut to her confessional. A close-up shot. "I hope he figures himself out. I really do. But he's not coming back here to find me." That part of his story is over, permanently. The music fades under her words, slow, reflective, final. Before the scene ends, the producer asks, "So what would you say if Kody showed up at your door tomorrow?" Christine looks straight into the camera and says, "I'd tell him to turn around. There's nothing for him here except the truth he's been running from." Fade out. The next scene opens with a low drone shot of Flagstaff. Dry wind, brown grass. The kind of landscape that feels heavy with old memories. A car drives toward a quiet diner on the edge of town. Inside, Janelle is already seated in a booth, sipping coffee. Christine walks in moments later, smiling as she slides into the seat across from her. They hug. Not a dramatic reunion, just two women who have shared too much life to need words. "Long time no see," Christine says. "Yeah," Janelle nods. "Too long." There's comfort in their small talk, like ex-soldiers comparing scars. The conversation starts light, but it doesn't take long for the tone to shift. Christine lowers her voice. "I heard he came by the farm." Janelle exhales through her nose, eyes tired. "Yeah, showed up like he was checking on the livestock, pretended to care. You know the drill." Christine's expression tightens. "He's fishing for sympathy again." "Exactly," Janelle says. "I could see it in his face. He wanted a reaction, maybe even a fight, but I didn't give him one. I'm done feeding his narrative. It's not anger that drives their words anymore, it's clarity. the kind that only comes after years of denial finally burn off. Christine takes a sip of coffee and smirks. You handled it better than I would have. I'd probably have thrown the mug. Janelle laughs, but it's brief. I think part of him still believes he can fix things, not because he loves us, but because he hates losing control. Christine nods. He can't stand that we're fine without him. Then something subtle shifts. Janelle's tone softens. You know, I used to believe he meant well. I thought if I could just stay calm, stay practical, he'd eventually see how much I was holding the family together. But now I realize he never wanted balance. He wanted obedience. That line lands like a punch. Christine's eyes glisten, but she doesn't look away. She reaches across the table. You and I, we built that family. The kids, the homes, the faith. All of it. He just showed up to take credit. There's a moment of quiet understanding. Years of pain, recognition, and a kind of peace that only comes when you stop waiting for an apology. Christine breaks the silence. Mary couldn't make it today. Janelle shakes her head. She said she's done with meetings that turn into therapy sessions, but she sent love. She's happier now, you can see it. Good, Christine smiles. She deserves that. We all do. The camera zooms out, slowly. The two women laughing softly now, a rare sound that feels like sunlight breaking through a long storm. The narrator's voice fades in. For years, these women fought for a man who claimed to fight for family. Now they're rebuilding what family actually means without him. As they stand to leave, Christine looks over her shoulder. You know what's funny? He used to say we couldn't make it on our own. Guess he was half right. We're better. They both laugh and walk out into the sun. Cut to Kody's truck driving down a lonely road, the wind picking up dust in his wake. The war he started isn't between wives anymore. It's between who he was and who they've become. The episode shifts tone again, darker, quieter. The camera pans across the new house Robyn and Kody just bought. It's beautiful, almost too perfect, but something about it feels empty. The walls echo, the furniture looks staged, and the warmth is gone. Robyn sits alone on the couch, scrolling on her phone, reading the latest headlines and fan reactions. Her face tightens with every comment. Robyn won! This is the life she wanted. She got Kody, and lost everything else. She tosses the phone onto the cushion beside her and leans forward, burying her face in her hands. For the first time this season, the cameras stay on her longer than usual. No makeup, no filters, just exhaustion. Kody walks in, cheerful but forced. What is wrong now? Robyn looks up, voice shaking. Do you ever read what people say about us? They think we're monsters, Kody. He frowns. Who cares what they think? They don't know what we've been through. They know enough, she snaps. They see what we've done. You think you can just buy another house, and everyone forgets the pain we caused. Her voice breaks. Not angry, just desperate. Kody sits down across from her, jaw clenched. You wanted this house. You said we needed a fresh start. I wanted peace, Kody. Not a mansion built on ashes. There is a pause, the kind that fills the whole room. He sighs, frustrated. I am trying, Robyn. I am doing the best I can. She shakes her head. No, you are not. You are doing what you think looks like trying. You stand in front of the cameras, talk about fairness, talk about heartbreak, but you never talk about what you did. You never say you were wrong. He leans forward, defensive. So, I am just the villain now. Tears fill her eyes. You made yourself the villain. You picked me over them, and now you are mad because it cost you everything. That is not on them. That is on us. The silence that follows is suffocating. You can almost hear both of them realizing the same thing at once. They got what they wanted, and it still isn't enough. Robyn whispers, You said plural marriage was your calling. But we're not living any of it anymore. We don't go to church. We don't talk to anyone from the community. We don't even live by the faith that started all this. So what are we doing, Kody? What is left? He stares at her, speechless. It is the first time she has said it out loud, that their faith was the first casualty in the war for control. The narrator cuts in quietly. For years, Robyn claimed she wanted plural marriage for spiritual reasons. But the truth was never about religion. It was about possession. And now, even she can see it. Kody finally says, We still have each other. Robyn looks at him, tears falling. Then why do I feel so alone? He doesn't answer. He just stands up and walks out of the room. The camera lingers on her face. Eyes red, mouth trembling, realization dawning. The woman who fought hardest to win him finally understands what victory really costs. As the screen fades to black, her voice breaks the silence. I thought love would fix everything. I didn't know love could ruin so much. Fade out. The next morning, the house is silent. Kody sits at the kitchen table, staring at his phone. He's scrolling through messages, some from the production team, some from his kids. Every word stings, Dad. Stop pretending this is about faith. We see what's really going on. You're not the victim here. He sets the phone down hard, breathing heavy, like someone fighting the urge to throw it. The camera stays on him as he rubs his temples, muttering under his breath. They don't understand. None of them understand. But then the footage cuts. A producer's off-screen voice asks, Kody, what is it that they don't understand? He looks up, eyes sharp. That everything I did was for them. For this family, I tried to build something that lasted. The producer pauses. You mean something that looked like it lasted for a split second? Kody's face cracks. That flash of anger he can't quite hide. He leans forward, voice rising. You think it's easy being the one who has to hold everyone together, the one who gets blamed no matter what he does. Christine walks away, Janelle walks away, and suddenly I'm the bad guy. Cut to the confessional, Kody alone in the interview chair. His tone is sharp, defensive. They all turned on me, even the kids. Even Robyn's starting to. I don't know what's happening anymore. He laughs bitterly. It's like they're rewriting history. The narrator's voice breaks in softly. For years, Kody was the storyteller, the one who controlled the narrative. But now the story is telling itself, and he's not the hero anymore. Then we cut to an online clip. McCulty and Tony's Patreon reaction from that same week. It's going viral. Again, they're watching the scene where Kody visits Janelle. McCulty leans forward, eyes wide. You guys, this is exactly what I was talking about. He only shows up when he wants to look like he cares. But when we needed him, he wasn't there. Tony shakes his head. It's performative. He's trying to fix his image, not the relationship. The comments on the side of the screen fly by. McCulty finally said it. The truth's out. Kody can't hide anymore. Back to Kody. He's watching the same clip, and the tension in his jaw says everything. He's losing control. One reaction video at a time. Robyn walks into the kitchen, arms folded. You shouldn't watch those. He doesn't look up. They're talking about me, about us. Let them, she says quietly. They're done protecting you. Maybe it's time you stop trying to protect the image. He laughs bitterly. Easy for you to say. You're not the one they're calling the narcissists. She hesitates. Aren't I? That line hits hard. He looks up sharply. She holds his gaze. Calm, unflinching. We did this together, she says. You and me, every choice, every lie we told ourselves. So don't act like you're the only one paying the price. He pushes away from the table and storms off, muttering unbelievable. The camera follows Robyn as she stands alone, staring after him. Her voice, almost a whisper. We wanted to be the last one standing. I just didn't think standing alone would feel like this. The narrator cuts in. For Kody, the truth is exposure. For Robyn, it's consequence, and for everyone else, it's finally closure. The screen fades to black with a teaser. It's early evening, and the production crew is setting up for a confessional. The mood feels different. Tense, uncertain. You can tell everyone's on edge. A producer off. Camera whispers. He's late again. Another voice replies. He said he needed a minute. Then, the door swings open. Kody walks in, eyes red, pacing before he even sits down. He slams his water bottle on the table. Let's just get this over with, he mutters. The camera starts rolling. His voice is shaky at first, but you can hear the frustration bubbling up. They keep twisting everything I say, Christine, Janelle, even the kids. They want me to be the villain, so fine. Maybe I am. He laughs, but it's bitter. The kind of laugh that hides a breakdown. The producer tries to calm him. Kody, we're just here to hear your side. He cuts them off. My side doesn't matter anymore. Everyone's already made up their minds. The silence that follows is heavy. It's the kind of silence that tells you something real is about to break. He leans forward, voice rising. I gave everything to that family. I spent decades trying to keep everyone happy, rotating houses, juggling emotions, fighting with myself just to keep the peace. And for what? So they could all walk away and make me look like a fool. He slams his hand on the table, startling even the camera operator. They don't understand what it's like to be me, the producer speaks softly. Kody, people say you weren't listening. Listening, he interrupts. I was the only one listening. I heard every complaint, every tear, every fight. I just couldn't fix it all. No one could. The camera zooms in. He's shaking now, angry, hurt, and finally exposed. Robyn walks in halfway through, whispering, Kody, please stop. You're going to regret this. He looks at her, eyes wild. Maybe regret is all I have left. It's the line everyone's going to remember. The one that will play in every trailer, every clip, every fan edit online. The narrator cuts in low and steady for years. Kody hid behind logic, behind faith, behind his own version of love. But now he's standing in the ruins of his own making, and the cameras are still rolling. Kody sinks back into his chair, exhausted. His voice softens, barely audible. I don't even recognize myself anymore. Maybe they're right. Maybe I lost everything because I couldn't admit I was wrong. Robyn stands beside him, hands trembling. You didn't lose everything, Kody. You still have me. He looks at her, and for the first time, there's no warmth in his eyes, just emptiness. Yeah, he says quietly, that's what scares me. The camera catches the producer's glance, a silent exchange that says we just got the season's headline moment. And they did. As the crew wraps up, Kody walks out without another word. Robyn stays behind, staring at the empty chair, her voice breaking in the final line of the scene. He wanted to be remembered as a leader. Now he's just a lesson. The screen fades to black. The scene opens not with music, but with Christine's laugh. Light, familiar, real. She's sitting on her porch in Utah, sipping tea, the mountains behind her glowing in the late afternoon sun. The producer's voice off camera says gently, You've seen the clip, right? Kody's outburst. Christine's smile fades. She nods slowly. Yeah, I saw it. A pause. Then she adds, and honestly, I wasn't surprised. Her tone isn't cruel, it's calm. The voice of someone who's done her healing, she continues. That's who he is when he's backed into a corner. When he can't control the story anymore, he lashes out, blames everyone else, and calls it truth. The camera cuts closer. Her eyes are serious now. I spent years thinking maybe if I loved him harder, he'd see me. But what I didn't understand back then was that you can't outlove a person's ego. You can't fix someone who's addicted to being right. The producer asks, Do you feel sorry for him? Christine thinks for a moment. I feel sorry for the man he could have been, not the one he chose to be. That line lands heavy, the kind that freezes even the crew. She takes another sip of tea, looks out toward the horizon. You know what hurts the most, not the betrayal, not the way he treated me. It's realizing he'll never know how much peace there is in letting go. Cut to a montage, clips of her with David, laughing, dancing in the kitchen, planning their new house. The difference is stark. The woman who once cried on camera for validation is now glowing without needing it. The narrator fades in. Christine didn't walk away to hurt anyone. She walked away to survive, and in doing so, she showed the others what freedom really looks like. Then, a text alert pops up on her phone. The camera zooms in just long enough for viewers to see one line of a message. He's blaming you for everything. She sighs, then looks straight into the camera. Of course he is. That's easier than facing himself, but she smiles again. Softly, knowingly. Let him talk. I'm not in his story anymore, the producer presses. What do you think happens next for Kody? Christine leans back, thoughtful. He'll keep fighting ghosts until he realizes they're just reflections. The sad part is, by the time he figures that out, no one will be waiting. A long pause. You can almost hear the wind through the trees. She adds one last thing quietly. You know what peace looks like. It's when you stop needing the last word, the screen fades to black. Then a voiceover, but the story isn't done, because the next text Christine receives will drag the family back into the spotlight. one last time. The episode opens with a phone vibrating on a table. It's Christine's. The screen flashes. Mary calling. She hesitates before answering, then slides her finger across the screen. "Mary, everything okay?" On the other end, Mary's voice is steady but low. "No, not really. You've seen what is going on, right? The leak." Christine frowns. "What leak?" A pause. Then Mary says it. The sentence that changes everything: Kody's private messages. They're online. The background noise cuts. Just a long silence. Christine blinks. "You mean someone hacked him?" Mary sighs. "Number someone inside sent them to a blogger. They're everywhere, Chris. Screenshots, voice notes, all of it." The camera zooms in on Christine's expression. A mix of disbelief and resignation, she whispers. "So it finally happened." Cut to clips flashing across the screen. Headlines from fan accounts, TikTok edits, news sites. "Leaked," Kody's texts blame Christine and Janelle for TLC drama. Fans in shock as new recordings surface. Then, a voiceover from one of the leaked recordings. "If they want to ruin me, fine. I'll ruin them back." It is unmistakably Kody's voice, angry, cornered. The narrator fades in. For years, Kody Brown controlled the story. But this time, the story controlled him. Back at Christine's house, she sits in silence, phone in her hand. Mary's still talking on speaker, voice shaking now. "He is saying the show made him the villain, that we were all manipulated." Christine interrupts softly. "We weren't manipulated, we just finally told the truth." It is the calmest line in the whole episode, and the most devastating. The scene cuts to Janelle in her car, listening to the same leaked clip on her phone. Her voiceover plays. "I used to think we'd eventually circle back, all of us, heal, but hearing those words, that is when I knew. There is no going back, not this time." Back in Flagstaff, Kody's house is dark except for a single lamp. Robyn sits on the floor, scrolling through her phone, tears streaming down her face. "He did this to himself," she whispers. "He doesn't even see it." Then the camera catches Kody in his study, pacing. His phone keeps buzzing with incoming calls. He doesn't answer. He finally sits down, buries his face in his hands, and says quietly, "They all wanted their freedom. I just didn't think it would look like this." It's not anger anymore, it's defeat. The man who once commanded 4 homes now sits in silence, alone with the sound of his own unraveling. The final scene brings everything full circle. Christine, Janelle, and Mary on a group video call. The mood isn't angry or triumphant. It is peaceful. Christine smiles. "We made it out," Janelle nods. "We really did." Mary adds softly, "And maybe that is the story now. Not what we lost, but what we found." They all laugh quietly, a kind of shared relief. Then Christine says the final line, one that feels like the closing chapter of the entire saga. "Let him have his version. We've got the truth, and that is enough." The camera lingers on their faces, 3 women who survived the same storm standing stronger for it, fade to black. On-screen text, TLC has paused filming on Sister Wives following recent leaks. The network has not confirmed if production will resume. Then one last voiceover, calm, reflective, final. The Brown family built a life around shared love and shared struggle. But in the end, it wasn't plural marriage that broke them. It was the silence between them. Soft piano music plays as the credits roll.